I am Dracula.
I fucking hate you, Discord. And just before we get into today's episode, I want to say the Graveyard Club are proudly to announce we are now part of the You Run podcast network, home to true crime, horror podcasts. There's a lot of familiar faces on this network I've come to see. So if you're interested in that, make sure you check out the links in the description to their website and go check out all the other shows. I'm sure you already know a couple of them. Now let's get into today's episode.
Fight to the death.
The robot versus the Aztec Mummy. They will bring you a night of terror.
Me, Discord. Hey, welcome back everyone to the Graveyard Club podcast. We're finally putting a cap onto these Mexican mummy movies. It's been a fun trilogy to watch, I have to admit. Wasn't expecting these. These obviously came right off the bat from the Universal mummy movies that we've been reviewing. And joining me this week, I have Zontarr with me and Bryan Croy Dragon. Yeah, we're putting a cap onto these Aztec Mummy movies. We started off, obviously, with the Aztec Mummy. The sequel was The Curse of the Aztec Mummy. And finally, we're ending it now with the robot versus the Aztec Mummy. So, there was quite a bit of diversity to this trilogy, I have to admit. By the end of this episode, we're going to rank the three movies. So make sure you stick around to that, because what's good about these movies, I found, are quite different. Like, they throw something new in every movie that keeps it fresh. Whereas a lot of the Karras movies, you kind of knew what to expect from a lot of them. That's what I'll always remember about these set of movies. It's quite interesting. Yeah, so directed by Rafael Portillo, he basically done all three of them. We have the same kind of cast of characters. Raymond Gay as Dr. Almada, Rosa Arenas as Flora, with Crow Alvarado as Pineque, I think that's how you say his name. And then we have the Bat obviously returning, Dr. Crump, which you could kind of argue he's kind of the overarching villain in these movies. We'll get into it. He's quite the interesting character. Before we get into the plot, though, and talk about more about this movie, I just want to hear your guys' opinions on this trilogy. Like, Bryan, like, as a whole, like, what did you think of these set of movies?
Yeah, it's very good. Enjoy it much more now that I know the general formula. It's all building up for the titular mummy to appear, and yeah, it works a lot better knowing that.
Sure, man. For sure. What about you, Zontarr? Like,
Hello?
I can hear you, Bryan. Yeah.
I enjoyed them, but I enjoyed them. But that said, I don't think I'm going to revisit them. You know, it's the bit where it's like, okay, I've learned all I can learn from the Aztec Mummy. I had seen the third one ages ago in Mystery Science Theater. I had never seen 1 and 2, but now I finished the trilogy. Okay, that was interesting, but I think I'm done with this series.
Yeah. I definitely wouldn't consider them a classical set of movies. They're quite the interesting watch, all right. But there is things to take away from it that I did enjoy about it. We're gonna get more into it. Yes, just quite an interesting set of movies. Sorry, we're experiencing little technical difficulties on Discord at the moment, so I'm hoping this all sounds fucking handy. But I'll get into a little bit about the plot. The one thing I'll take away about this movie straight away, fucking half of the movie is a backflash. So like we're used to these backflash recap scenes from the Karras movies. This set of movies, the Mexican mummy movies, do take that trope. Especially in this movie, it's I swear maybe it's about 25 to 30 minutes of this movie is all flashbacks from the first two movies, and I can't help but think it took away from the movie. Now, I know in this movie, the only kind of new addition is the funny looking robot at the end that we'll talk about quite soon. Which, it's, what a design for I know we're still, it's on like, I know we're in the 50s here, man, but fuck me, the design is crazy. Like, imagine ending a trilogy like that on such a weird little number like this. Like, the previous movie had a luchador, which was kind of random enough, but it was quite enjoyable. It was almost like a proto like luchador movie, because they would have been more popular than maybe 10, 20 years later. This movie, I was going in thinking it was going to be a bit more of a sci-fi kind of style, but it's the robot really just gets lobbed in at the end. So it's quite interesting. We will talk about that. If you haven't been keeping up with the episodes the last while, we basically do get a complete rundown of the first two movies. And as I said, again, this takes up 30 minutes of the movie. Just to brief over it, Doctor has a theory of age regression that he needs proof of. He uses his fiancée, Flora, which I believe now in this movie they're actually married. But going over the first movie, he uses her as a test subject. And they basically find out she's the reincarnation of Princess Sochi, an Aztec ancient princess that got sacrificed for a forbidden love for Pacoa, an Aztec warrior. And he was buried with a curse. So Dr. Almada goes to the pyramids to get the chest plate, the ancient artifacts, to use as proof. He wakes up the mummy Pacoa. Pacoa kidnaps Flora and brings her back to the temple, planning on to kill her to bring her back to the afterlife, I suppose. He stops Pacoa with a cross, which sets off an explosion in the temple. So that's basically the first movie. Like, that takes up literally about 15 minutes of this movie. But we basically see that at the end of the first movie, and then he grazes over the second movie, talking about how the bat ends up becoming Dr. Crump, who was one of the scientists at the very start of the first movie. And basically the second movie is just about him going after the artifacts. Again, Pacoa comes, stops him, and yeah, like at the end of the previous movie, just to recap on it a little bit, Pacoa, the mummy, just walks off into the distance. So, you don't really know what's going on. So, I don't know, I really didn't like the fact that it took so long for this movie to put us up to speed. We could have just got a simple recap of the last movie, you know? Like, what did you think of that, Brian?
Yeah. I think it was a bit excessive to recap both movies. We could have just had the second one recapped, since we already had a recap of the first movie and the second.
And again, we get the scenes, the flashback scenes of like the ancient Aztec times. We've seen this now 3 times in this trilogy. It's quite lazy now at this stage. Like, I swear, like, I know these were meant to be done on a bit of a shoestring budget, but come on, guys, like, fuck me, they were taking the Universal tropes a little bit too serious there. But this one does have a little bit of a plot. So as you know, the bat actually survives the snake pit of the previous movie. He's a crafty little fucker. Now, he is more called Dr. Crump in this one, but I prefer him to call him the bat. So we'll just go with the bat for this movie. He must have some sort of hypnotist powers, because he goes to Flora. Flora's in her bed, hypnotizes her from the inside of his car, and makes Flora help him locate where Pacoa went. Now, this is one I did like the kind of the scenery in this movie. Pacoa is resting in a crypt in a cemetery. So again, you're seeing these kind of throwback to like Universal graveyard scenes. I think it was done quite well. Now the doctor, so he basically has Flora like hypnotized, and she basically shows her where Pacoa is, and the doctor mentions, the bat mentions that he's working on an experiment. That's kind of foreshadowing what's going to happen. Basically, what he wants, he just wants revenge on the mummy from the previous movie, and he wants them artifacts, and the only way to really get them is by killing the mummy. So the next morning, Dr. Almada notices that Flora is all covered in dirt, instantly thinking that the bat is the culprit. So him and Piquet go to the cemetery to find out where the mummy's resting. And again, while this is all happening, this is actually a flashback as well. So most of this movie is fucking Dr. Almada talking to 2 other scientists. Even up to this point, like, this is actually still a flashback, even after we got a recap of the 2 previous movies. I remember checking like how long in the movie I was in, 40 minutes long, and like they're still throwing flashbacks. Like, it hasn't moved from this one scene since the start of the movie. The movie is basically setting up the big battle near the end of the robot and the mummy. But again, the bat kind of gets involved in it. So the bat is building a human robot, and I actually kind of love this scene, to be honest with you, because it's Frankenstein all over. 31 Frankenstein all over, just done on a really weird kind of budget. And we do get the scene of this, but you can almost call it a cyborg because it does look like a half human, half robot. And I'm sure people here have seen The Wizard of Oz, but I couldn't help thinking that looks like the Tin Man.
Yeah. Yep.
Brian, what did you think of the design?
Of the robot.
Yeah.
Well, I've not seen too many 1950s robots, but I've been watching an awful lot of Voltron recently, so I'd say this is definitely one of the lower end of the scale of robots. I'd probably give it a 1 out of 5.
Like it's quite ridiculous. 1950s was a weird time. I'm not sure if anyone here has seen The Robot Monster.
Oh, sure. I'm a huge fan.
Yeah, like
I've not seen it, but I'm familiar with it. It even appears in the video game adaptation of Manos: The Hands of Fate.
I'm also familiar with it.
like great design.
And speaking of weird 1950s monsters, the Giant Claw is in that movie also. It's in that game also.
Yay.
So like comparing it to other movies like that. Right. I think I got it. Jesus Christ, man.
You hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you now. God fucking damn it. Okay, yeah. So yeah, the ending of this.
Carrying on.
Yeah, so carrying on. Sorry, we were talking about the ending of the movie. It kind of it builds up like the bat obviously wants to bring the robot to Pacoa in the cemetery, which again I loved that whole scene. It's done quite well. We get to see the mummy action now. I can't help but laugh at the ending of this movie. The fight between the mummy and the robot is quite hilarious. They spend most of the time hugging to the point where I actually, for the first couple of seconds, I was like, who's winning this fight? There's a lot of hugging going on. And then the scene switches and the mummy ends up demolishing the robot out of nowhere. And I mean, it fucks the robot up. Reminds me of one of them Karis scenes where out of nowhere Karis can move a lot quicker than he ever could. Did anyone get a good kick out at the ending of this movie?
The bat and his henchmen just in a corner when Papoka comes over to get them is... Oh, jeez, it's something that's just really good. There's no escape for the bat then. But also just hearing Papoka growling like the Universal Frankenstein monster is amazing.
What did you get a good kick out of the ending, Zontarr?
Yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, once the robot loses his burning hands, his shocking ability, and the mummy just takes him apart in a matter of about 8 seconds. Fantastic.
Fucks his shit up, man.
Tears him apart. It's great.
And I what I couldn't stop looking at during the scene as well is the look on the robot's face. Like you can see a human head on top of inside this robot casing, and it's just so off-putting. It's just a blank expression on this fella's face that's inside the robot. It's fucking hilarious. Now, the part at the end, I think they skimmed over a little bit. Did the robot... did the mummy end up killing the bat and his henchman? Did anyone catch that?
Yeah, I guess where he's immediately going to be going.
True. They kind of breathed over that a little bit. And what was annoying then, Flora comes out and basically just tells the mummy to calm down. Take your stupid fucking artifacts, your chest plate, and go to rest. Now, we had 3 movies for her to do that. 3 fucking movies, man. Like Flora could have came in clutch and saved the fucking day there. There was no need to have a luchador movie or a fucking robot Aztec mummy if Flora would have said that in the first movie.
I don't know. Would she have said that for the sake of the bat and his henchmen?
Well, that's true. That's true. That's the one thing. Like we get a taste of the bat in the first movie, and he's dressed in all black. He looks like the Mexican Batman. And then in the second two movies, he's basically just Dr. Crumb, which does become a nice twist in that previous movie that we did watch. That he was one of the scientists that Dr. Almada was explaining his theory to at the very start of the first movie. So he's been there all along, keeping tabs. But like for a trilogy of movies, they're completely different films. Like you could almost say the first movie is basically like a remake of a Karras movie, a typical Karras movie. The second one obviously is leaning more into like a luchador superhero kind of movie. Then obviously this one is more of a monster mash. Well, it builds up to a tiny bit of a monster mash near the end. Very funny one.
Yeah, and it's too bad about Picante, or whatever his name is, stopping being the angel, giving up his superhero career because, I don't know, a masked luchador, a mummy, a robot, all in the same film, wouldn't that have been something?
Yeah, there was definitely a lot more to that character, man, that like didn't get explored. That was it. That was, I've actually forgot about that. That actually was a nice twist in the end. That completely just got swept under the rug in this one. Because it's funny, like in the first movie, he's definitely the comedic relief. Such a silly character. Second movie, he's a lot more distant, and then obviously it makes more sense that he ends up being the luchador in the movie. And then this one, he's kind of back to being a little bit of a comedic relief, except it's more of a team up between him and Dr. Almada. So what I did like about this trilogy, they obviously use the same cast of characters, even if it's just 3 or 4 of them. Well, we're in the movies, so I like that. That's something that we didn't really have too much of in the Karras movies. That made some of the movies feel a little bit disconnected, especially how the continuity wasn't that tight. Now, like we don't really see. What I've read about this movie, like Flora and Dr. Almada are meant to be married in this one. I don't think we get any indicators that they actually are married, but that is something that I read.
Yeah, they just seem to be like there's been a time skip, which probably ties into just how long it took the bats to make the robot / cyborg. But wouldn't it have been something to have had a wedding scene as the final scene?
That's because, like, going back to the ending a little bit, I feel like we could have fitted in a little bit more of a what happens next scene. Because once the robot gets fucked up, the bat and his henchmen are taken care of. The credits roll. You don't really get to see what happens with Dr. Almada and Flora. Because the first movie, I believe, was an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 20 minutes long, and the 2 sequels are barely, well, they're a couple of minutes over an hour. And they feel that like it's a shame that they kind of crammed so much recap and backflash scenes within the sequels. I mean, sorry, because especially in this one, the robot versus the Aztec Mummy, we literally got a 2-minute scene of the robot versus the Aztec Mummy.
Literally naming it after the climax.
Yeah, which I suppose you can't, like, which did happen. You know, I suppose it's normal enough, but I don't know. I thought I was going into this movie thinking it would have had to do a little bit more about the robot. We would have got a bit more time, because it was setting up, especially when the bat Dr. Crumb said that he was working on an experiment. That was like we all knew going into this movie that he's talking about the robot. I thought we would have seen a little bit more about his time building the robot, how he done it. He's quite an interesting character. Like from the first movie, he is quite the joke. then he gets a little bit more depth within the sequel. So that's like my ranking of these movies are going to change from what I'm thinking right now, because I honestly don't know. I feel like the first movie was kind of only finding its footing. Like it wasn't a perfect movie. It was, I don't know, like it wasn't exciting. It wasn't exciting as these other as the sequels. It was definitely a retelling, a rehash, different style of a Karras movie. Second movie, I thought they had a little bit more fun with what they had, and then in this movie, I just feel like they were just trying to wrap it up as silly as they could, and they definitely did. That robot was ridiculous looking. So I don't know, when we get it, we'll be getting into our rankings of these movies quite soon. But yeah, it's just I can't help but be so shocked. Like 30 minutes of this movie was taken up by flashback scenes that we literally seen in the previous movies. Such a fucking bummer. Now, getting off about this movie just a little bit, there is kind of an unofficial / official sequel to this movie, which came out in the 60s, and it's the Wrestling Woman versus the Aztec Mummy. Now, I read it a little bit into this movie. It follows a different mummy. So, have you seen anything about this?
Yeah. Because it's a different mummy, I'm not going to count this one. I'm not going to count that one, because obviously these three films were all shot together. Obviously, they're all part of a trilogy, and this is like something that was just made years after the fact. And there's even one from 2007, which I'm not going to count.
Yeah. And can I be honest, Brian? I think 3 Aztec Mummy movies is enough. I don't want to see where they went with the fourth one. I have to give this trilogy respect in some regard, though, because it did try something new with every single Mummy movie. The Luchador took me by surprise, and then obviously again we have like the robot in this one. Whereas we're with the Karras movies, we're kind of used to the same exact tropes every single fucking movie. You know what to expect. Same ending. Bar maybe one or two, which were quite different in that series. I'm not saying they're all the same, but you have to kind of take a hat off to this trilogy of movies. They tried something completely different. First off, like changing it to the Aztec influence. That was a great idea to do. And then it just went fucking off rails from there. You know, I'll give my rankings. Like before we rank this movie, I just want to know everyone where would you rank this? Where would you rank this movie in the 3 movies that we've just been talking about?
I'd probably put this one at the bottom, the first one in the middle, and the second one at the top.
It's between this one and the first one that's the lowest one. I agree with you with the Curse of the Aztec Mummy, which is the second one, being my favourite. I thought they'd done everything quite well there. For second and third, I don't know. Maybe I'd put the Aztec Mummy second, because it feels like a more coherent movie than this one. And then I'd probably put this one, in third place, because I can't help the first half of the movie being taken up by flashbacks. It's just fucking ridiculous. Only to move on to actually be more flashbacks. So that first scene in this movie where the Dr. Almada is talking to the scientist, that scene doesn't move on until about 45 minutes into the movie, which is crazy when you think about it. Zontarr, what would you rank these 3 movies? Or how should I say?
2, 1, 3. Yeah, I really enjoyed 2. The Luchador part just cracked me up. It was fantastic. I love that, he's just a big strong guy. He puts on a mask and a cape and he's a superhero. And the whole bit with him and the kid, they give the kid something to do, and the death trap, great. And 1, it's all original footage. At least 1 doesn't have any stock footage other than, the flashback to them, the Aztec ceremony, but otherwise, but that's still original footage. And then of course this one gets knocked down, because so much stock footage. And then the billing of It's gonna be the Mummy versus the robot. It's gonna go on for a while. Like, hey, Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. No, it's 1/10 the amount of time. Frankenstein and the Wolfman don't even fight very long. This is probably 1/10 of that amount of time.
Yeah,
This is
like
the bottom of the three.
I feel like in the Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, like it's justified a little bit, but yeah, in this one, I wouldn't even mind, man. The fight was ridiculous. They spent most of the time hugging each other, and then flashes are going off, sparks are going off, and I love even like there was cut scenes where like the mummy would get a backhand off the robot, like. It was quite comedic. I just wish we would have got a tiny little bit more of that, and just how the ending wrapped up in this one. It was just quite like, okay, that was it. We really just went through a half hour of flashbacks to see 2 minutes of Aztec Mummy versus robot action. For the movie just to wrap up like that, we didn't even get a final kiss from the happy married couple. Like I feel like,
Yeah.
I feel like there was a little bit more story there. They could have made this movie maybe a little bit more longer, but it does make sense because the budget was so tight. So they probably spent their last couple of change, by the looks of it, on this movie and the same motive.
There's a joke about, I mean, a lot of cheap movies in the 40s and 50s, but especially the sci-fi, where it's like these super abrupt endings. It's like the monster defeated, and they flash up the end. And occasionally the better ones, you get like a minute usually of the hero and the heroine kiss, or they get some kind of wise line. This one's it's just done.
Probably
ending theater.
Probably just when the budget just cuts, man. Like it's the same. Going back to that robot monster, like that. The end of that movie was quite abrupt as well. But what was interesting about that movie was done on like a 15K budget and end up grossing like 100 million in the box office. So like cheap movies back then could have been a good success. So I know what they were trying for this one. It just wasn't it. So if I was to rank this movie, I think I gave the previous movie a 3.5. I think I gave the last two movies a 3.5, maybe a 4. But this one, I'm gonna strike it quite low and give it a 2.5, purely because of the cheek of them to have half the movie as a flashback. I just can't get over that. But what would you rank it? Oh, 5.
Probably a 2.
Yeah.
Needed less recap.
Although I don't want to revisit it so soon, but now I kind of want to rewatch the Mystery Science Theater take on it. Because I've seen it, but I saw that, probably in the 90s. Like, what did they do with it when it's so short? They must have some shorts, and then what did they riff on? So much of it's just kind of a dull, but, backup footage. Yeah, I'm going 1.5 or 1. It's just a dog. It's not really.
It's trash, man.
And then, yeah, it's just trash. And that's why Mystery Science Theater did it.
I think that's the only recommended way I'd go and watch this movie. Most of the movie, like if not all the movies we talk about on this channel, I feel like people should go and watch it. But this is one that maybe you should just watch it through the Mystery Science theater. Like this is a tough one, man. It wasn't an amazing trilogy in any way. What are you gonna say, Brian?
It is disappointing. It does. The trilogy does a job of things, but dropped the ball by making it mostly recap and relegating the robot to the final minute.
I feel like it had potential, like the different setting, the different look of the mummy. I actually really enjoyed the actual Aztec Mummy, especially the way they shot it in the first movie in the dark. You get to see a little bit more of it in the second movie, and then this movie, he spends most of the time sleeping on his back, covering, like holding onto the chest plate in this movie, and he only wakes up to have a fight off the robot monster in this one. So they even wasted the potential of the Aztec Mummy in this movie. Like they dropped the ball on all fucking cylinders here. I just feel like they should have made just a two movie fucking series, and maybe just saved whatever budget money you had left and just made a short a couple of years later or something like that. Like, this movie did not need to be made. No, sorry. We're getting closer to the release of the Lee Cronin one, which the more I see about it, the more I am getting excited about it. Like, this is a completely different take to the Mummy story. Although there's a part of me that would just like a modern remake of an Art of Bay style Mummy movie. But I'm looking. I think an Art of Bay modernized style movie. There's a lot of people online that argue that you can't modernize like the classic Dracula story because I suppose it goes against too much of what is the norm today. But I disagree. I like, just for argument's sake, the Dracula story. I had a debate with somebody on Reddit about this, and I'm on the fence that you can completely remake that movie in modern times, and just modernize the characters a little bit. The Count can still be a foreign fella that's looking to buy up property in London. Maybe not a count or a baron, because none of them anymore, I don't think. Maybe over in Romania. But there's definitely like an Art of Bay style remake Mummy movie I think would work. The Lee Cronin movie looks like it's almost looks like it could be a possession movie. Like, the young girl that gets, I assume, that gets found like 5 years later, going off the trailer, looks like she's possessed. It doesn't even look like she's been mummified. It'd be interesting to see. I believe that's coming out on April 19th. So people that's listening, make sure you keep an ear out for that as well. Are you guys going to go see that?
17.
Yeah.
Yeah, last film I saw was on Project Mary.
Oh, I'm actually thinking about going to see that as well, man. Is that good?
Oh, it's very good. I found myself expecting it to end earlier than it actually did, but you guys do keep thinking you're going to get the ending, but there's still some more to go.
What do you guys think of Glenn Powell?
Glenn Powell?
Yeah, is that not the main guy in Project Hail Mary?
No, it's Ryan
Gosling.
Oh, it's Ryan Gosling. Oh my god! Like, I thought, I was actually going into that movie thinking that was him in the main poster. I haven't seen it. I actually haven't seen a trailer for that movie yet. I was just thinking that was another movie that motherfucker's after getting his face in.
The guy's Canadian, but I've not seen enough of Ryan Gosling's career. I've seen Remember the Titans, but
he was in the Blade Runner. He was in Blade Runner 2049.
Which I've not seen.
He was fine.
And I also believe that was him in the Barbie movie.
Yes.
Excellent performance.
This movie kind of hinges on how much you like him, because there's an awful lot of him.
I don't mind him, man. Like, I'm at to really warming up to a lot of these kind of pop star looking actors. That's why I mentioned Glenn Powell, because I thought that was him as the main role in that new movie, because he's in everything now. But he does a lot of producer work.
He was in that Running Man remake, which I haven't got to yet. I'll give it a try.
That looks quite good.
No priority, but I'll get to it.
I think the first thing I seen him in was that Top Gun Maverick movie.
Mm-hmm. Literally, the only thing I've ever seen him in beforehand was Remember the Titans.
He's also in that
sports movie. Showed it to us. They showed it to us in elementary school, and it just ended up becoming something that my family owned.
So I also seen him in that the new Twisters movie, which was
yep.
which was interesting to say the least. Man, Discord has just been pissing me the fuck off today. I can see my voice bubble glitching in and out. I'm fucking praying this recording's after going the way it is. For anyone out there that's listening, have you experienced any of these sort of issues with Discord like lately? I feel like maybe if you just do a call the next time, it could work out smootherly. It seems like any time I join one of the voice channels, can't hear Brian, or then I leave and I rejoin it again, then I can't hear Zontarr. Very fucking frustrating. But yeah, but that is basically the Aztec Mummy movies. What a fucking ride. I don't think I'll be in a rush to watch many of them, especially this one. I may return to the Luchador one in a couple of years. Who knows? But I think I'm good with the Aztec Mummy movies for a while. I believe the next ones that we're going to be digging into. Yeah, you know what I mean, Zontarr.
Yeah, next ones we're getting into will be the Hammer films, starting with the 1959 film. So it's back to the regular stuff. I mean, the Aztec Mummy films had their ups and downs, but then again, they actually tried something new.
I would recommend them, especially if you're doing what we're doing. We're kind of doing like a mummy marathon, if you will, leading up to this one. So that I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are rewatching the older mummy movies. So like I wouldn't pass them up, but I'd say like when you get to this one, the robot versus the Aztec Mummy, just go in with absolutely zero expectations, and you might enjoy it a little bit better because. I don't know, like as we were talking about these Aztec Mummy movies the last couple of weeks, I was going into this thinking, oh fuck, like this could be like the sci-fi kind of styled mummy movie that we were talking about in the previous ones, which it's completely not. It picks up right from where the course of the Aztec Mummy leaves us, and yeah, just throws in a stupid looking robot at the end of the fucking movie. And
of course, of the Hammer film was being, a remake. It's a foreign remake itself, so we should, I don't know, maybe not compare foreign remakes too much, but I don't know, maybe we should keep that in mind since we're going from one batch of foreign remakes straight into another. With the first of the Hammer films.
That's true, and I've always loved the Hammer movies. I think they basically took what Universal did, modernised it for the time, added in good-looking women, blood, and obviously you have like stuff like Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing in them as well. So I am looking forward to digging into these Hammer movies. I feel like there's a good viewership, there's a good fan base for them Hammer movies as well out there. So similar to the Universal ones, like they're kind of timeless movies that you can go back to them. So it's going to be nice, and obviously these are going to be the first mummy movies I'm going to be talking about that are in colour. So it's gonna blow people's minds. And is Peter Cushing in this one, Brian?
What was that?
Was Peter Cushing in this Mummy Hammer movie?
Oh yeah, Peter Cushing, Christopher Lee. They're both in it.
So we have a fucking double whammy.
I'd say they probably give better performances than their American counterparts.
Yeah. Lon Chaney done about 5 mummy movies. You had to give it to him there, man. A lot of them were shot in the same year as well. I say he was pissed off with doing that role. It'd be nice. I think Christopher Lee has a good build for a mummy. Tall, lanky, skinny. Like that's a good imposing looking carrot on paper already. Now I haven't seen this. I haven't seen this Hammer movie. I do have a box set, and it does include one of the mummy movies, but I know for a fact it's not the fourth one. So
I know we're getting a bit early, but it's too bad they decided to remake the Karis films instead of the Karloff film, because Christopher Lee as Imhotep alias Ardith Bey, a mummy who is essentially an evil sorcerer that would have been great.
Yeah.
And,
Guys.
I mean, we're talking about a man who went on to play Saruman and Count Dooku, basically one of the most eminent evil wizards in literature, and essentially an evil space wizard. So
Yeah, it's a pity that he had to be bandaged all the way up to his eyeballs in the next movie. Seeing Christopher Lee as Ardeth Bay would have definitely worked 100%. That I could see that working. It's a pity that's the 1930. Well, the Karloff movie. I think it was 1931, wasn't it? It's a shame that
32.
Oh, 32. 32. It's a shame that story doesn't really get adapted too much. Like, Karis is such an easy kind of character to make a remake of. So obviously that was the kind of the easy decision for Hammer to do. But yeah, no, it'd be nice. That's like going back to like what my ideal remake would be for a Mummy movie would be an Ardeth Bay style, like kind of story. I think that would work. Well, yeah, I'm looking forward to digging into them Hammer movies. I think there's 4 of them.
Yeah.
So they're going to be interesting. And then obviously we have the Brendan Fraser movies coming down after if we do end up getting to them. Very excited for the next Mummy review. Not sure when that'll be. I'm gonna really need to look into Discord because a bit of a fucking shit show today trying to get the podcast going. I'm not sure. I need to see if anyone else is experiencing issues like this as well, because this has been happening the last couple of weeks. Quite frustrating. Hopefully the recording is nice and sound. But yeah, guys, if you made it this far, make sure you like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. I always forget to say that. Hit the bell so you'll be notified when we have more reviews coming out. If you're over on Spotify, make sure you leave a rating. That really helps us out over there. And yeah, thanks for Brian for jumping on the panel. Zontarr, as always, boys, thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you on the next one.
Yeah.
Yep.
I am Dracula.